There are a lot of great Christmas movies in the world. Something for everyone, really. Classics like A Miracle on 34th Street and White Christmas. You've got comedies like Home Alone, Elf, and Christmas Vacation. Family fare like the original animated How the Grinch Stole Christmas and the Santa Claus movies. Modern classics like The Christmas Chronicles. And a few movies that just really know how to represent the spirit of the season, like Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. But sometimes, when you're not expecting it, a movie will come along that will blow the rest of them out of the water. And I'm here to tell you about one such film. A movie that is so awful, it might just be the greatest Christmas tale of all time. I'm talking about 2019's A Karate Christmas Miracle. Yeah! We open on our main character, Jesse Genesis, played by Mario Del Vecchio, who would go on to star in a wrestling Christmas Miracle the following year. You mean I already have a new greatest Christmas movie for next year? I don't deserve such happiness. Jesse is dressed in a karate gi and is running through lists of countries and presidents in front of a photo of his father, who is played by Mario's real-life father, Ken Del Vecchio, who also wrote and produced this movie, so you know it's going to be a good one. Not like Drew Gooden or anything. Pretty sure Ken doesn't have that kind of clout.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Drew. Just because something is weird and on the internet doesn't mean you have to buy it. My name is Drew, and today I'll be buying something weird I found on the internet.
Jesse's mother, Abby, played by Mila Milosevic, wonders what he's up to. Apparently, the year prior, Jesse's dad told him that if he completed a 12 Days of Christmas list, he could have whatever he wanted for Christmas. Well, Jesse's dad went missing, and he's completing the list so that he can have his father back. Now, this kid looks to be about 12 or 13, but claims to be 10 in the movie, and I guess that's to lend some credibility as to why he would actually believe that would work. His mother is convinced that her husband is dead, though we're not given the specifics to draw our own conclusions. We're just told by Jesse that he went missing. We cut to a karate dojo where Jesse is sparring with another kid while his mom is on the phone arguing with someone. At some point, she notices how aggressive he's being with the other kid and tells him to take it easy. After the match, she asks to see his sensei, whom she assumes is a man, leading to this.
First of all, it's a she. My sensei is a woman.
You know what, dip? We all assumed that, because in the scene where you're sparring, there's a guy watching the two of you fight. We only see the lady briefly in the background after the match has ended. In fact, I had to watch the scene twice to even notice her. And so what was the guy there for? Was he the other kid's sensei? Like, what kind of hoity-toity karate school do you go to where each kid has their own sensei? Anyway, Abby asks where Jesse's sensei is, and he says,
I told her I needed to go it alone. Yeah, I have to earn my black belt on my own, and I have to do it by Christmas Day.
What? Christmas is only 5 days from now.
You know, they actually have a term for teaching yourself to become a black belt in 5 days. It's called a figment of your f***ing imagination. This kid's a yellow belt, which is the second belt above white at every dojo I've ever trained at. Even if he were a belt below black, you wouldn't become a black belt in 5 days. You'd need more than just a Christmas miracle to make that happen. Also, if I were Abby, I'd be showing Jesse the business end of my black belt, right? You're paying for this kid to have private karate lessons for him to not learn karate. We do a rough transition to some lady watching Eric Roberts do a villain monologue on a television screen before flashing to some newspaper clippings about a Christmas mass shooting committed by a clown who is still at large. The Joker? Anyway, apparently, all this stuff is a nightmare that Jesse is having. He wakes up calling for his mom, she rushes to him, and he tells her about the dream.
I had a terrible nightmare. There's this scary man on a screen. I didn't know what he was talking about. Then there was a clown with a gun.
Cut! Okay, Mario, let's try that scene again, but this time, and I'm just spitballing here, but let's try it like you actually had a scary dream. Hey, my son doesn't do multiple takes, alright? That was an Oscar-worthy performance. Okay, moving on. Abby discovers that Jesse's dream is the result of some newspaper clippings, the same ones from the dream that Jesse probably saw in his dad's desk. Now, how or why they are there without her knowing about them, since they actually mention the father's disappearance, is beyond me. Anyway, we then cut to a drone shot with some weird light filter on it, and music that sounds like we just found a fairy cave in a Zelda game. We transition to a college classroom where a lady wearing a reindeer necktie appears to be doing some crowd work that is not going well.
How about I call you my elves? Oh, no. How about my reindeer? Yeah, you're all little reindeer, but without the horns, because I don't like horns. They kind of remind me of that devil guy.
This goes on for a while before we get to the point.
Santa just broke a chair right over some greaser's head because the greaser was about to hit you with a whiskey bottle. Everybody get it?
I sure as hell don't.
The answer is none of the above. Santa Claus is guilty of nothing. He acted in defense of another. He was protecting his friend Rudolph.
You're correct. You are absolutely correct.
Okay, there is a lot to unpack here. First off, Jesse has awarded himself an orange belt, so he is well on his way to knowing the same amount of karate he knew at the start of the film. Which might be none, honestly. Anyway, second, where is his mother and how did he get here? Third, does he only wear the karate gi? Which, look, I know, it's a stupid question. I mean, how else are we supposed to know it's a karate Christmas miracle if he doesn't? I'm sorry I asked the question. Lastly, he wasn't even in the room for the 10 minutes that she rambled. How does he have the only correct law answer? Ken, I was just going over your script here and I had a couple questions about the next scene. How does Jesse have a perfect understanding of the law when the actual law class doesn't? Well, his father's a lawyer, a brilliant lawyer because he's played by me, and all that knowledge rubbed off on Jesse. I mean, ask any 10-year-old with a lawyer for a parent, and they'll give you the same answer, filled with legalese. Right. Why did I ask? We cut to the law professor in her office with Jesse's mom, and this scene goes, well, just everywhere except where I expected it to go.
When I was 16, I went to a psychic fair and got a reading. The psychic told me that I would get married, have one son, and that my husband would go on a journey that would be of a major concern to me. That psychic was you.
Wait, so this lady is supposed to be a real psychic that gave you a reading years ago, and you tracked her down and sent your son into her classroom to draw her out? Why? Couldn't you have just made an appointment? Anyway, Abby wants the professor to use her psychic talents to tell her if her husband is alive or not. She presents her with a knife that belonged to her husband and was found at the scene of his disappearance.
Karate.
What?
Karate.
Yeah, I'm with Abby. Can you at least use it in a sentence? Something like, I see someone doing karate, or I sense that someone was doing karate? No? Okay. Anyway, Abby says that Jesse believes getting his black belt by Christmas Day will bring his father back, to which the professor says,
It might.
You think it will?
No, I didn't say that it will. I said it might.
You know, I'll bet that's how she does all her psychic readings. I sense that you might marry and have one kid. A karate kid, if you will. I will? I didn't say you will. I said you might. That'll be $200. Abby leaves the knife with the professor as well as her home address. As she leaves, she says,
I have to take Jesse to karate now. He's already on his green belt.
What? We just saw him wearing orange. Did he have a belt ceremony with himself in the hallway while you were having this meeting? And he's teaching himself. Why are you taking him anywhere? Later that night, Jesse is having another nightmare with Eric Roberts talking on a TV screen. It also cuts to a theater where we see Jesse's dad talking to a crowd about the Second Amendment while rocking a deep V and a golden cross necklace. Abby wakes Jesse from his dream and...
I just saw Dad. I'm telling you, he's alive. I need to get that black belt.
I don't want you to get hurt.
Mom, I'm tough.
The only Christmas miracle at the end of this movie will be if I'm still watching it. I'm only 20 minutes in and there's still an hour to go.
I know.
For the sake of time, I skipped the scene before the nightmare where Jesse was wearing his green belt at dinner, and I guess that's a good thing because...
Mom, I'm already on to blue belt.
Yeah, one class, one belt, that's the school's motto. You know what? Maybe they don't even teach karate. Maybe they're just a belt retailer and Jesse's confused.
Logical.
Abby tries to talk some sense into her son.
Getting a black belt is not going to bring back Daddy.
But why didn't you tell me Dad was at the theater trying to make a constitutional argument about guns?
I'm sorry, the argument? Well, I mean, at least he knows how to place the emphasis on the correct syllable. Cut! Mario, it's pronounced argument. Hey, he said what he said. Move it along. Can't you see the kid's tired? I guess we're supposed to believe that Jesse is also psychic, which would explain how he can teach himself karate so quickly. Sure. Yeah, let's go with that. We cut to Abby convincing someone on the phone the merits of having gravy on Christmas, all while sitting next to someone we've never seen before. But hey, I'm sure they're going to establish this person's name before long.
Seems like it was just yesterday that you were in high school living next door. You're graduating college?
It's like it was just yesterday when you were living next door and going to high school, and now you're going to college, and it's really great. It's been really nice catching up with you, friend. You don't know my name, do you? Abby is hiring this old friend to babysit Jesse and I can barely say this with a straight face, take him to karate class. Okay, look, this next thing, I'm just going to play it for you. I didn't edit or trim this in any way. This is just how the scene transitions.
Does he have any dietary restrictions?
So that's a no then on the dietary restrictions? What is this movie? Anyway, Jesse does some white belt level karate on a green belt in his class before we cut to Abby selling someone over the phone on the merits of applesauce. She's in marketing, by the way, not just opinionated on odd foods. That's just a bonus. In the middle of her call, Abby gets another call on her cell from her husband's phone, but it's not her husband.
Who's this? Where did you find his phone?
And if it's been almost a year, how is the phone charged? We cut back to the professor performing her one-woman show for a single student when she has a psychic vision of Abby's husband having a gun pointed at him by someone in a Michael Myers mask with a bad paint job. We cut to Abby arriving at a diner? ? Looking for someone named Jay. She asks the guy behind the counter if he is Jay, and this is his completely normal reaction.
Do I look like Jay?
I'm sorry, I don't know what Jay looks like.
Do I look like AJ?
Sure, why not? Jay's a pretty common name.
Jay's a letter of the alphabet, and I don't think I look like a letter. It's also a bird, as in blue jay, and I'm not blue. Do I look blue to you?
After going off on her, he tells Abby that Jay used to own the place and sold it to him a year ago. She apologizes and said that Jay told her to meet him there, and as she's about to leave, this happens.
Yo, hold up, babe. Hold up. I was just kidding around. I was just joking. Jay! Yo, Jay! There's this chick out here to see you, man.
Ken, I was going through your script again, and I'm having some concerns that no one in here acts like a real person. Oh, listen to this jive-ass turkey talking shit about my writing. And you know what jive starts with? J, which isn't a name, it's a letter. A letter that comes before K, which is what my name starts with. Oh, K, which is what my script is. What? I think I made my point. Abby meets Jay and gets her husband's cell phone. She learns that the phone was found in one of the booths and that her husband used to do free legal work for Jay. She gets a call from the professor, and then we transition to the person that I'm going to call the babysitter, because the movie has still not yet established her name, asking Jesse about karate belts.
A white belt is a beginner searching for knowledge in the beginning of life's cycle. The yellow belt symbolizes the first beams of sunlight which shine upon the seed, giving it new strength.
Sweet filter, bro. Also, I'm not saying that those belt meanings are a load of crap, but I've studied in 3 separate styles of martial arts, including karate, and I have never heard that metaphor used for the colors of belts. Anyway, Jesse stops at purple, and when the babysitter asks about the other belts, he says,
I'm only up to a purple belt, so can you cut a kid a break?
It's not just me, right? You all want to see this kid get kicked in the groin too? For some reason, we transition to the professor with Abby at Jesse's karate dojo, sans Jesse, where she's describing the remaining belts to Abby.
The brown belt, well, it represents the ripening of a seed. And a fighter, he's going to wrestle the longest with getting his brown belt.
Well, yeah, but Jesse's in an accelerated program, so he'll only be a brown belt for about 6 hours.
It just came to me. right when I was in the middle of a lecture, because that's when things seem to come to me at the most inappropriate times.
I'll tell you what, if there is a person in this movie having the time of their career, it's the professor.
Psychic vision isn't 20/20. It's not like, well, it's kind of like nearsightedness, but only in my case, it's like bifocals.
She knows what movie she's in, and she is having a ball. Respect. Abby is confused by the professor's rambling until the professor just tells her that her husband was a black belt and teaching women self-defense. On this revelation, we cut to this.
Hello out there in crazy land. I'm Graham Palace, owner of the Palace Theater chain and, of course, this classic theater.
Okay, early prediction. We never see Martin Kove or Eric Roberts interact with another person in this movie. I'll bet they both filmed their scenes on a green screen in their homes because, let's face it, they're both too good for this film.
It's been a long time. Now!
And as if the scene with Martin wasn't odd enough, it ends with this.
Tell your mother. Then you must remain silent until Christmas Day. That's the day you earn your black belt.
I'd say you can't write stuff like this, but someone did. The scene with Martin Kove was another vision/nightmare that Jesse was having. He explains the dream to his mother and ends with,
I have to remain completely silent from now until Christmas Day and focus on only one thing, getting Dad back.
Wait, so he's not going to talk anymore? That's the best news I've heard this movie.
Uncool, bruh.
We cut to Abby talking to the professor at a bar.
How could I have not known my own husband had a black belt in karate?
I sense that he was trying to tell you, but you're just too busy to listen.
Honey, there's something that I've been trying to tell you for a while now. But I haven't found the time, what with you working all the time, which is something that, I wouldn't know anything about being a lawyer. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I promised myself I wasn't going to cry. But I have a black belt. That's nice. Why do I even bother? The scene plays out with the professor negging Abby for being successful and having a well-off family while also being a poor mother because she's always working. She then praises Abby's husband for working hard for everything that he had. But you just said that Abby was a bad mom for working hard. You can't have it both ways, Professor. In mid-sentence, the professor has a vision of Eric Roberts in his living room because, where else would he be? And we learn his name is James Whitmore, and he is apparently the killer clown that committed the mass shooting.
I know they never laughed at me, never hated me, or schemed against me. I am an instrument of power, and now my judgment matters.
Christmas is in the background of this film, but it's been pretty irrelevant. I mean, this is just a low-budget psychic whodunit. There's been a serious lack of both Christmas and karate. I feel this was mismarketed. Like gravy on Christmas. Anyway, Jesse has another nightmare, and this time the babysitter goes to check on him, and guess what? We finally hear her name! Mumbled from another room, but it counts.
Sarah! Where are you?
In the next scene, Abby tries her hand at acting drunk, and, it's a thing that happens in this movie.
Why did he have to go to that stupid, crummy horror film in the theater birthday party and give a speech?
There's a weird moment here, though. Sarah mentions that Bob, Abby's husband, loved horror movies, and when Abby asks how Sarah knew that, there's this hesitation before she claims that Abby told her that when she came into the room, which she sure as hell did not in this movie. So, was Bob having an affair with Sarah? No, sorry, I'm giving the filmmakers too much credit. That might spice the plot up a little bit. So Abby has a breakdown, and then we cut to Jesse making a call to Martin Kove? What? I'd like to say that their conversation illuminates why he would be calling him, but it doesn't.
My father was always my teacher, and I was always the student. But now, my father is my student. I must guide him home.
You owe your student your loyalty.
And remember, you can't be expected to be loyal to everything all at once.
So the call was a dream? Also, I don't know if the head of the Cobra Kai is the guy you want to be taking dream karate advice from.
You got real nerve, old man. Real nerve.
The professor shows up at Abby's office the next day and continues to insult her.
Maybe I'm the three ghosts to your Scrooge, and you are a Scrooge, Abby.
Wait, so now we're working elements from A Christmas Carol into this already convoluted plot?
We don't want to scare the dickens out of people.
Merry Christmas, Miss Cooley.
The dickens out of people. Nobody gets it.
The professor takes Abby to some places that she has seen Bob in her visions. The visions are from the day before he went missing. She also continues to make Abby feel bad about working.
I don't know. He was going to tell you when he got home, when you got home from work, but you were late. You're always late. You're always at work. Why?
Yeah, and he was probably a terrible lawyer. Ken, I was just noticing there is a lot of negativity focused towards Abby in this script. What's all that about? My wife left me while I was writing the script, and sure, it was probably my fault, but you want to start some shit over it? The professor gets cold and heads for the car, but Abby tells her it's locked, leading to...
You locked the car? Abby, we're at a nativity scene. Ain't nobody out here, and you locked the car? And you think I'm the one nuts?
Yeah, nativity scenes don't ward off car thieves. They're not f***ing magic.
He ain't very Christmassy, is he?
Now look, I know you're all concerned, deeply concerned about whether or not the professor makes it to the car or dies from exposure. Fortunately, the filmmakers got your back.
Come on, open the door. Is it not opening? No.
Oh my God.
Abby has finally taken a drink of the Kool-Aid and decides to let the professor lead her on a psychic goose chase around the city. But we don't get to see that because the movie just remembered it has karate in the title.
Kia! 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 Kia!
Woohoo! That couch didn't know what hit it! Classic red belt technique. And those push-ups? Well, The Rock better step aside because there's about to be a new attraction at the gun show. We then see Abby painting a birdhouse alone. The birdhouse is something that Jesse would do with his father. And I think when the professor was giving Abby a hard time about not being there, she didn't mean to go do the parent-child bonding activities without the child. But anyway, Abby calls Jesse in to take a look at the birdhouse, and I gotta tell you, he is feeling fabulous.
Look, Jesse, I painted it. I painted the birdhouse.
We finally get to see one of Jesse's belt ceremonies, and well-deserved after he gave that couch one for.
Well, you've earned a lot of belts.
Is it weird that I kind of want to decorate a Christmas tree in karate belts now? The next day at work, Abby's boss gives her a hard time for missing a meeting to go run around with Professor Psychic. She then decides to leave work again to go watch Jesse bully a green belt into submission at his karate class. We just as suddenly cut to the professor apparently having a Zoom chat with the tribe on North Sentinel Island. Now, I don't have time to go into everything that's wrong with that, but I did a history video on North Sentinel Island if you'd like to know why they absolutely wouldn't be on a Zoom call with Crazy Train here.
Look, I don't know who you are because I don't remember you, okay?
The professor has another vision of Eric Roberts, and I still don't know why he's in this movie.
I love that. You know, there are times I'm afraid. Afraid of making the wrong choice, going on the wrong path.
This leads to another vision of Martin Cove sprinkled in with some of Abby's husband, and I still don't know why Martin's in the movie either, but this vision makes the professor believe that Abby's husband is alive and that she needs to go get shit-faced at a bar. She says that Abby needs to go with her, And Abby agrees, but it's Christmas Eve, so now who's making Abby a bad parent, Professor? There's a side plot that gets wrapped up at the bar involving the professor's ex-fiancée, but I just didn't cover any of that because the movie's confusing enough already. Anyway, it results in the professor thinking that her vision was incorrect and that Abby's husband is actually dead. Whew, huh. What a roller coaster ride of emotions.
What you've done for me and Jesse is wonderful.
I haven't done anything.
I disagree. You've been the Jack Sparrow that this movie desperately needed. The ladies have an emotional moment, and Abby asks the professor to come over on Christmas Day.
When Jesse's scheduled to get his self-taught black belt.
You know what? I'm gonna start using that. Hey, you want a problem, punk? Don't mess with me, man. I'm a self-taught black belt. Self-taught black belt. No, okay, I can't stop. Just go. Just go. Self-taught black belt. On second thought, never mind. Christmas Day arrives and we get treated to Jesse doing some more of his sick push-ups.
Oh my gosh, he's got so much energy, that kid. I don't know what he is.
The time of Jesse's black belt ceremony arrives and we learn that some of these adults have some weird kinks.
When you break this board, you'll speak.
Do you want me to hold the board?
I would like to hold the board.
Abby decides that she's going to hold the board.
So give it your best shot.
Look, it's f***ed up, but part of me hopes he whiffs it and cracks his mom right in the nose. He then fails the belt test and we get no karate Christmas miracle.
Dad! Dad! You escaped. I know you would.
I did. I escaped. You did this for me, didn't you?
I did, so you would come home.
You're a black belt, Jesse. You're a black belt. You earned it.
Ken, just one more script question. If Bob just escaped after a year in captivity, I kind of feel like the last thing on his mind is going to be, his son giving himself a black belt. That's because you don't know Bob like I do, okay? This script is based on the true story of my life. And let me tell you, nothing was more important than my son awarding himself a black belt. Just like his old man. I'm so proud of us. I quit. The movie ends with,
It's a miracle. It's a true Christmas miracle.
Is it? Because I kind of feel like Bob would have escaped if Jesse had given himself a black belt or not. Oh, that's really it. Okay, no explanation of how he escaped, where he's been, why he was kidnapped, what happened to the person who kidnapped him, how much they paid Eric Roberts and Martin Coe for an hour's worth of work. Okay, fine. Well, there you go, everybody. A karate Christmas miracle that managed to feature no karate. And barely any Christmas. Or miracles, for that matter. But at least we had those sweet, sweet push-ups. So, this is hands down one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I didn't plan this. I saw the movie online and purchased it on an impulse 3 days before Christmas and decided to do one more video before the end of the year. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and if you'd like me to suffer through the wrestling Christmas miracle next year, I'll do it. I'm going to cry about it, but I'll do it. This movie makes me want to take back every criticism I've ever had for Are You Afraid of the Dark? I mean, each episode of that show, even the worst ones, are a masterwork compared to this. So, have you ever seen this movie or just any films that sound as bad? Let me know in the comments below. Merry Christmas, everyone. Now, if you'll excuse me, I heard a couch talking some shit.
Look, Jesse, I painted it. I painted the birdhouse.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and a share. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon to be notified when more of my videos go up. And if you enjoyed this, check out some of the other videos on the channel. You might find something else that you like.